The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gill Alexander on VSiN.
Hour number 3 of a numbers game at VSiN, the sports betting network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, and of course, SiriusXM channel 158. It's Gill Alexander. Kelley Bydlon is here as well. Earlier on the show, I tried to do my promo homework on air. It was fantastic.
It
Kelley
really was. It was 9.5 stars out of 10.
By the way, I'm told the third one is way too long. Man, come on.
Gonna have to clean that up. I'll bring him up because there's also a non-zero chance he's listening right now. I did a cruise by in the casino, and then I had to do a double take and walk closer to the blackjack tables because I thought Tim Lawson was out there playing blackjack. There's
Maybe it is Timmy Lawson.
There's a guy who looks exactly like him. I'm pretty sure it's not him though.
Timmy Lawson, the Better Life host for all the years. Great podcast. We get tweets beating the book. Xavier82. I know Dave Ross would be happy hearing Whale Capper, meaning Drew Dinsick's review of the NFC East earlier in the show. How about them Cowboys? Haha. Oh, I've got stuff to say about the Cowboys. Bobby Geddes. The what's beat the who's in what year? Did you say the St. Louis Maroons? If so, I think I finally won ANG bingo. Yes, the Red Sox are trying, or the Red Sox-Orioles game yesterday was the first game between two teams with win streaks of 7 games or more since 1884 game between the St. Louis Maroons and the Washington Nationals. The Maroons. New Jersey, New York. Regarding Washington's schedule, Gill, you might remember this, but in 2013, the New York Giants had such a brutal start of the schedule that you kept repeating on guessing lines and the Megabot. If they start 2-5, that's a success, and the season isn't completely over. Sound familiar? Yeah, that's exactly right. Chance Copperpot, I rage bet your Red Sox most wins in July at 9-1 before the All-Star break, Gill. I wrote these most wins in a month plays off, but if you cash and I didn't get a piece, it would haunt me. What could possibly go wrong? Go Red Sox. What's so funny about these is like we've been close every time this year, really. I mean, 2 of them didn't really have a chance. It was more cosmetic, but they ended up very close.
Right, yeah.
So the proof is in the pudding in terms of the thinking is correct, and this is just, again, months of frustration all pouring in.
But that's also important. Like if you are betting these, that's of how you're evaluating yourself. It's important to do that after the month, not on the 10th day of the month. Right,
dude.
I mean, sure. Like you said, Gil. Like yes, there have been months where 11 days into the month you knew like you were probably done. Right, but then hey, you have to evaluate how the bet was after the month when you see what the final record was.
Mm-hmm. Todd Crisostomo.
Nice.
I like that. I just want to say that name again. Hi, Gil. What happened? He said, what happened to the Jesper de Jong match? On the overnight, I put his play in versus Jan Choinski in a parlay, saw it was voided because de Jong played Timofey Skotov instead. Why the switch? They had a reserve sub on site to fill in. This happens a lot at the beginning of tennis tournaments where matches are scheduled, but then someone invariably pulls out. I'm actually not sure what the reason is because I was prepping for the show. I know, show prep. I know. So I don't know what happened. It just gets voided because it's not the same matchup. So there you go. Choinski didn't show for the, not that he didn't show for the tournament, but he pulled out before the tournament even started. And yes, there is a lucky loser in qualifying that then replaces it. By lucky loser, which is a term that tennis hardos debate, it's someone who actually didn't qualify for the tournament properly in qualifying, but lost in qualifying. That would be the next man up in when and if this kind of thing happens. If and when this kind of thing happens. Buddhist man, even StatMuse getting in on the. Oh, he's got him superimposed a picture of me on StatMuse on the Red Sox thing. People trying to jinx this, man. Weather in Boston. Here we go.
I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to think about that. That would see there is grosser ways to lose this bet than your team just sucking. It would be if they just can't play games. That would be the worst.
Rhodes knows LeBron or his ego clearly loves this stuff. It's happened before. So tell me why he wouldn't wait till at least August 6th Hall of Fame game. Keeps him in the news until then, right? What else is the sports world going to talk about? Stick and ball.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
There is part of this, Gil, that like I think like the whole documentary crew that's like been following him around for years now or whatever it's been. I do think this changes things a little bit because the one interesting idea, and I've always thought it's interesting, is if you're LeBron from a basketball standpoint, and if you really only care about winning championships at this point, like the smartest thing to do is to sit out until January, sit out until after December, see who's actually playing well, and you know how these teams get desperate around the trade deadline to bring in extra firepower, extra help. Then you pick your team, but you can't do that if you're making a documentary. You can't sit out for half the season.
Back to the NFC East, because we keep trying to finish this conversation, but I could talk about it for hours. But again, Skins Commanders come down to Jaden Daniels' health by and large. If he's a go, I think they have enough improvements where they can be okay, but the schedule's brutal.
Yep.
And so it's tough. It's tough to think of them as a playoff team this year. It really is.
I think Gill what I try to do with all these teams is kind of write down bets that I would consider depending on where you stand on this team. To me, this is an alt under team. And then if you're playing the tails with that, it's a good call. If you're really high on the Commanders, I think you are considering Jaden Daniels for awards, right? MVP, comeback player of the year, he would qualify for. That's going to be a tough market with Mahomes in it. But that's the way I'd be thinking about the Commanders.
Eagles, who are lined as the best team in the NFC East with 10.5 wins as their season win total, and the division short shot. I feel it is justified, despite what we talked about before about Jalen Hurts' quirks, which again, he doesn't throw the ball over the middle. He doesn't go to a second read. He's become this really predictable quarterback, which FTN's Almanac did a great job of identifying. On the other hand, their defense is so stacked. The offense just has to be serviceable for them to win this division. The other two teams,
I just don't know. That price needs to be bigger for me to bet it, though, Gill. Can't get there for Eagles to win the division because I think there is enough of the upside with some of these other teams that there's definitely a world where that doesn't happen. But I'm with you. I would feel the most confident about them winning it.
The other thing that they point out in the Almanac about the Eagles is Tony Sirianni. And how, when it comes to fourth and short decision making, here's a sentence. He began alternating between over-aggressiveness and arch conservatism based on which choice was most likely to make Eagles fans feel like they had just ruptured an appendix. So it's just completely arbitrary with his fourth and short philosophies, right? There is no philosophy.
So this is another one for this, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts gets destroyed. Nick Sirianni gets destroyed seemingly all the time. All Nick Sirianni has done is brought the Eagles to at least 11 wins in 4 consecutive seasons and has a top 11 offense and defense over that time.
But you know what, Kelley? They point that out as sort of the knee-jerk response of everybody who defends Sirianni, right? It's like, oh, he must be doing something right because here's his record. Yeah, maybe. Or maybe he's just getting by on the fact that his team is just better, so much better than every other team in that division, right?
Sure.
So it's,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's what's the opposite of crescendo, diminuendo, to use the musical term. It's not looking like the chart is going upwards. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Just one point out.
Kind of like that. Kind of like this division wins market for Eagles over 3.5. That's actually probably where would be my favorite bet on them. Lay the 140.
I agree with. I could get behind that. The Cowboys, again, I sort of alluded to this yesterday. Their defense not only ranked last in the NFL last year, but was the third worst since 1977 by DVOA, trailing only the 86 Bucks and the 81 Colts. Brandon Aubrey missed a lot of 50-plus field goals last year. He missed 6 of them. We think of him as this unbelievable kicker. He got this brand new massive contract, but he actually wasn't that good last year from beyond 50. And Brian Schottenheimer is so reliant on him that they sort of play call for the 50-plus field goals, and they settle for a bunch of 20 to 29-yard field goals on the short end. He kicked 10 of those between 20 to 29 yards last year. So they have a coaching conservatism problem with Schottenheimer in that regard. So that's something to keep an eye out for. Mm-hmm. And then again, a lot of just, with the Cowboys, it's always the same story. They've got these great skill players in Dak and CeeDee Lamb, obviously, and then obviously Pickens. With George Pickens now. But Dak is, when the Cowboys fall behind, Dak is a really bad quarterback. 9 of his 10 interceptions came when they trailed last year. So when the Cowboys fall behind, he tends to take risks that he otherwise doesn't. So they're still one of these teams, even with anything good that you say about Dak, he's got that bugaboo where it's like when they're trailing, they tend to then collapse in games. And there's a whole thing on the sidebar of, is the Micah Parsons thing, did that end up being a good trade? On the one hand, if you piece it together, they traded this piece and they got this. When you do it that way, it ends up being this nice haul of players. But ultimately, they made the point where it's sort of like, yeah, but the proof is still in your final record. Are you really suggesting the Cowboys are better off short-term and long-term with Micah? No, they're not. The record still hasn't improved. So Cowboys fans shouldn't get too excited is basically what they're saying with all this. They have their flaws as well. And then the Giants finally, a lot of people rushing to make Dart and Scatterbo and Neighbors this amazing triumvirate in the defense. But they got some cracks now in the defense, right? Sexy Dexter is gone. Sexy Dexter's gone. Some of these, they've been trying to trade Thibodeau for a couple years. So they got some warts on the defense. And Scatterbo, man, in addition to this flip where he almost injured himself at the Fanatics Mensa convention, what else? He's a concussion skeptic. He's an asthma denier. He's like a weird dude on top of it. So I don't know if John Harbaugh, I agree with Drew on that count. I don't know if John Harbaugh just waltzes in and turns this around for them that easily. I don't see it. So the Eagles are still the best of the bunch, man. I like your division wins bet to bet the Eagles. I think that's the way to play it. Over 3.5 wins. I do like that. And I also like what you were saying about, with the Commanders, alt plays. I think those are both two really good pieces of advice. Baseball with Mark Borchard. And let's get Cleve TA some shine, our buddy. We'll do that next on the NFL on a numbers game. You're here because you want an edge. That's what separates listeners from winners. But let's be real, mindset alone doesn't get bets home. Pros win because they've got the tools, the data, and the discipline. And now so can you. VSiN Pro gives you access to the same real-time insights the sharps use. No secrets, no fluff, just actionable info that moves markets. Tap the link and see why serious bettors are turning knowledge into profit with VSiN Pro.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
The Just Win Bets Baby folks are always available to you in podcast form. You can scan the QR code on the screen for more. Mathematical models and custom AI to find value across major sports, proven track record, futures and long shot winners, weekly live podcast. Check it out, justwinbetsbaby.com. And Kelley, we sort of giggled the first time we said picks in English and Spanish, but you just saw them tweeting out something in Spanish?
I did see a tweet, I believe this morning or last night from those guys in Espanol. So see.
That's right. It's Cowboys, if they have the Cowboys, and then they say also El Gauchos or Los Gauchos also win. They do that kind of thing.
That's right.
Willie B betting on Twitter. The Bay Area's no sky July bothered me when I lived there, but I'd take overcast mornings over having to endure Dallas-Fort Worth's July fry on a daily basis. The humidity only intensifies it, and we haven't even gotten to the worst of it yet. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. He's showing me the 10-day forecast, all triple digits. It's like Vegas.
But toss in some humidity, right? Yeah.
Toss in humidity. Well, you know what? I still prefer humidity over the oven of Vegas. I really do. Fairway Fred. Bo Sox have no chance in July. No way. Zero. Nada. Kaput. Gill, you're welcome. Thank you for that. I feel better. Archie Green. The LeBron saga is getting old. He really needs the attention this bad. Let's go already. I agree. No Emu Doug. It's actually not LeBron's fault. Florida is still counting the votes. Yeah, you see what he did there? A little politics, I guess. GV, New Jersey, New York. Gil, did you just say Tony Sirianni? I don't know why I do that. It's Nick Sirianni. Why did I call him Tony? I have no idea. And then Super Jerk. I've upset Super Jerk, Kelley. He says, wouldn't you agree that like 4 out of 5 NFL teams depend on the starting quarterback's health? Please stop it. All right, Super Jerk. I think you understood that it's because I was talking about Jaden Daniels and he missed all but 5 starts last year because of 3 different injuries. Don't act like you don't understand what I was talking about. Yep. Super Jerk, if that is your real name. Anyway, just like get that out there. Ladies and gentlemen, you know who is not a super jerk? You know who's the opposite of a super jerk? Super nice guy. This dude completely nailed the home run derby last week, and we have not given him his flowers yet. It's Mark Borchard, base winner, joins us now, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Gill. First of all, I'm going to give you flowers for this Red Sox monthly win thing. And somebody asked me yesterday, like, what were the odds that you put it out? I said 80-1. Am I giving you too much credit?
That's correct.
Or not enough? Yeah?
No, that is correct.
Okay.
Bingo. 80-1 on the Red Sox. It just made sense to me, and so far so good. I'll leave it at that. There's still time. There's still time to mess this up, including with weather tonight in Boston. So,
well, and you don't want me to bring up the epic Red Sox collapse of 1978 when they were 14 games up in July and ended up losing a playoff to the Yankees, Bucky Dent. I was thinking about that today. So, well, gosh, if Gill's in the catbird seat, as they would say, but if any team could pull defeat out of the jaws of victory, it would be those Red Sox, Gill.
Yes.
I'm not trying to jinx it or anything, right?
No, not at all. By the way, that's Bucky freaking Dent, I believe, is the correct way to say that name. I want to just real quick about the home run derby, and thank you for that, by the way. But the home run derby, you wrote a piece. You've written a piece on this now. I think it's kind of an annual thing that you do now. You didn't really care about handicapping the Derby about 5 years ago. Then you sort of started getting into it, and you seized on this method. And here we are, like this year again, 3 picks. I think this is now 6 of 7 years where you've hit the winner, but you had 3 bets. The short shot was Kyle Schwarber. You bet on him. You bet on Jordan Walker, which was a middling shot at like 7-1. The eventual winner, Jordan Walker. And then you hit on Wilson Contreras as the long shot. Those 3 guys get to the semifinals. So the only person that could have beaten us was Caminero. He gets knocked out. So then it's Schwarber versus Walker. So it's just then a matter of, all right, let's knock out Schwarber because we make more money on Walker. You couldn't have handicapped this better. Can you just repeat for everybody for next year if they file it away? How do you handicap the Derby so well? What's your very simple strategy?
Oh, for sure. I can repeat this. It's exit velocity. And then I think I was doing ISO power at balls in play, and then exit velocity on off-speed pitches. And it makes sense. And I remember, I spent a lot of time doing this, the hours in 2019, I started to do it, but I was like, hey, I want to play this. I want people to have like an educated opinion on it and a chance to win. And so that's what I came up with. And I did a lot of work on that in 2019, and it's really proved to be really good. And I think a lot of it's, you group 3 guys. And so you have a chance throughout the rounds with that. And then you kind of Dutch bet it, but you still, even with those 3 guys, you got plus money. It was like plus 130 with those guys. So that was cool. And you're right, Gill. I mean, that's sweet when they call it dormy in golf, but I guess it was better than dormy because you're not going to tie, you're going to win. So I felt dormy right in the final. So it was cool. It's a really fun time. I think it's a good way to handicap it, Gill.
It was awesome, and it was great to see again you succeeding so brilliantly with such a simple, straightforward strategy. What did you end up with today in Major League Baseball?
Well, today I got a couple things, and maybe kind of segue a little bit to the division. But the first thing, gotta go with the base winner parlay, Philly and the Yankees. And if you're looking at this Philly game, I think this is a really good situation where you're taking a look at like Robleski's advanced numbers versus his sabermetric numbers. In fact, he was one of the guys. I did a post on my sabermetric pitchers to regress, and he was one of them. And against Wheeler, who I have as the number 2 base winner starting pitcher. So you start there, and then this Philly bullpen, number 1 in baseball. And then offensively, they're top 10. The Dodgers are number 1 in baseball, but the Phillies are number 9. And then we'll take a look just quickly at the Yankees. And I've got this game minus 176 is what the base winner line is. And it's about minus 150 in the market. So those 2 teams in a full game parlay, Philly and the Yankees, and it plays plus 189. But I did want to talk a little bit about the Phillies winning this division because I'm showing good value with Philadelphia in this division. If you look at the simulations, I have them at minus 173. And I think that I'm just going to take a look at the DraftKings odds real quick. They're at plus 140. So I think that's real good value. And again, all those components go into the calculus. And so I think Philly is a good play there. And then talk about Houston today. I like them today. I got them at minus 149. They're in the market at minus 120. I've got Amaya at number 20 based on and it's machine learning with starting pitching that I do. And he's number 20. There's nothing totally wrong with Tyler Phillips. He's 72, 5% worse than an average pitcher. But I think what amazed me is that in the model, the overall model, I've got the Houston bullpen at 17, but now at home, now this is what I'm looking at, the last 300 plate appearances for walks, the last 150 for strikeout percentage, last 150 for ground ball percentage. They've got a 2.9 base winner ERA, and that's best in baseball at home. So that doesn't even go into the calculation for the overall model, but that's kind of going into my head for this play tonight. And I think that Houston's a really good play today. And I also think that they're a good play in that division market. I've got them with a 20, I think it's a 22% chance to win. Take a look at a 26% chance to win that division. This is a wide open division, this AL West, Mariners, Rangers, and Astros. And again, this is not, you got to kind of do the subjective. Are they going to trade their guys? But for me, I've got them at plus 277. And I think that they're sitting in the market right around plus 800. They're actually right plus 800 today. So those are a couple futures for you, a couple daily plays. And I think like the math supports that for sure, Gill.
So the Astros, and again, Mark alluded to it, the model can't predict who ends up being a buyer or seller, but as currently constituted, you show value on the Astros, assuming that this roster remains consistent here. Real quick, because you talked about it earlier, I never got a chance to ask you. I wasn't here. Who were your sabermetric all-stars in the end? Overperformers and underperformers?
Well, what I did, and there's a post on my site, what I did is I did offensive guys, top 9 offensive guys, and then the starting pitcher skill. So that's all on my site. So okay. It's a real fun exercise. I love doing that. Every All-Star break, it kind of breaks up the lack of games. Of course, we had the World Cup this time, but I know what you mean. Kind of a dead area. Yeah.
By the way, Mark, we have a Q3 derivative show coming up. We'll have to plan for that. We're getting to the 120 game mark here in moments if we're not there already. Oh, we're almost there.
I'm all for it. But just real quick, the guys who to regress the most, I have number 1, Nick Martinez, number 2, Michael McGreevy. You might be grieving about some of your bets with him. And then number 3, the guy who's pitching today, Wroblewski. Okay. I send you off with this tweet from the Elderly Gambler who says, I really enjoy Mark's segments. I don't really bet much Major League Baseball, but his energy and smarts break through the ADHD. He just sounds trustworthy. Thanks, Mark. There you go. How about that? That's awesome. I appreciate it. I love doing your show, Gill. It's great. And I love the feedback, especially when it's positive. It's great.
And Dustin texted me the other day. He was like, hey, can we get Mark on Mad Dog? I was like, of course you can. So check out Mark on Mad Dog Radio coming up as well. Thank you, sir.
A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
A special numbers game investigation reveals that the NFL preseason is only a couple weeks away, and the best bettors are already getting ahead. Lock in early bird pricing on our football special for just $175 before the price goes up next month. You'll get instant access to our 2026-27 NFL betting guide, plus our upcoming college football betting guide, giving you everything you need to attack futures, win totals, conference races, and the upcoming season before kickoff. And the sooner you sign up, the more value you get with full VSiN Pro access to everything we do across every sport through the Super Bowl. That includes daily best bets, real-time betting splits from DraftKings and Circa, AI-powered prop projections, and 24/7 video on the VSiN Watch app. Head to VSiN.com/subscribe now. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. Gill Alexander in San Francisco, Kelley Bydlon back there at the Circa Studios, or I should say the VSiN Studios in the Circa Resort Casino, downtown Las Vegas. Super Jerk is he's on a roll here, Kelley. Want to hear a couple more Super Jerk?
What's he got?
Tweets?
What's he got? He still hasn't figured out how to tag the two of us in a tweet.
No. He still hasn't figured that out. He goes, if I have to hear anything else about LeBron James, I just can't. It's like asking me, what is Joe and Hunter Biden doing today? That's Joe and Hunter Biden. Oh, and here's one from him. Let's set the record straight on the Eagles. If it wasn't for the general manager, the head coach would be coaching high school football right now. He stinks.
Okay. Right. The record has been set straight.
Matthew Mayberry says you have Tony Soprano on your blind. On the blind. I think he means on your mind. And Eagle Marine, I don't know how to answer this. He says, hello, Gill. Would you say that Steve Fezzik is better at college football or NFL selections? Keep the tennis picks coming, by the way. Thank you for that. I think you'd have to ask Stevie probably, right? What he thinks he's better at, NFL or college. I mean, he's absolutely outstanding at contests in the NFL. The track record proves that unequivocally. He does do power rankings for the NFL. I don't know that he does that for college.
Yeah.
So I would say NFL just based on that. He would probably say.
I was staying out of it. I was kind of surprised at the hesitation from you. I think he would say NFL hands down, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe because yes, he does his own power ratings for the NFL, and he's always jumping on openers and has comments on those and stuff. So I guess I would have answered NFL, but I don't know.
And the numbers guys. Hey, Gilly, just curious your thoughts on the Challenger Tour. Pardon me. Doesn't seem like you ever play it. Wouldn't this go back to the theory that the less something is bet, the less information available, the easier to capitalize? In theory, yes. And by the way, when the Challenger Tour was in Las Vegas, I had no problem courtsiding that tournament. If you may recall, Lerner Tien was playing in a couple years back. But I am not going to get into, I'm not saying it's not a good endeavor if you have the time, but like yesterday, I was already handicapping 70 matches on the main tour, clay and hard court. So like if you add Challenger Tours to that, we have a show to do every morning. I just can't. It's just a life balance thing for me. Somebody was asking me, hey, why don't you handicap doubles? I'm like, dude, we got to stop with the doubles.
I guess my follow up on that, because this is a challenge for me when it comes to golf, is the stats that you're getting from those lower level tours. Are they as dependable as what you're getting off of the ATP and WTA tours?
If I were doing Challenger stats versus Challenger stats, I can't answer that question because I have not been doing it for long enough to make a judgment about that. But obviously I do use, maybe not so obviously, I do use lower tour, like Challenger Tour stats, ITF stats, to project forward to the Pro Tour. It's how, it was obvious that Iga was going to be as great as she was, right? Because you saw the numbers on the lower tours. Like who's playing right now on clay, who's a great example of this.
Well, I think that was a great example right there, because I would say same thing for golf. I can kind of look back on what they've done on the Korn Ferry Tour for the past couple years and project forward a little bit better. But like, whether it's Korn Ferry Tour or DP World Tour, so not all of these golf courses have the same shot link technology set up. So like, it's once you start questioning any of the data that you're getting, Gil, then it just becomes, like you said, it's already a work-life balance situation if you're going to dive further into these other ones. And what's really annoying is when you've dove halfway in and then you're like, I can't trust this data that I'm looking at. Then you're like, okay, that has been a complete waste of time.
And that's a kick in the pants when that happens. Yeah. It's by the way, Rafael Collignon was the name I was looking for, where he's a guy that has really amazing clay stats, but on the lower tours, but you can sort of bring it up to the main tour. He got to the finals here this last week. So he's another example of someone like that. Mm-hmm. David Chalifour letting us know about the Red Sox. He says, no need to worry. Only rain tonight. I'm guessing we play 2 tomorrow. So might not be extended rain in New England. So hopefully we only miss 1 tonight. We've given shine to the VSiN NFL betting guide. Obviously, our buddy Aaron Schatz yesterday. We talked about Drew Dinsick and Andy doing their podcast deep dive on the NFL in literal deep dive fashion. You know who we haven't talked about yet, Kelley? Our buddy Cleve TA. We got to get him on the show. But you do a great job of
updating his trends.
What do you? Yeah, I was gonna say. What are you laughing at? Oh, because you add a number every year.
I could just be a jerk and be like courtesy Kelley Bydlon because I just came up with this stuff now. But no, this is building off of Cleve TA's info that we have used the past couple years on the show. But I just try to update these kind of every year. So expect whenever he gets his NFL preview guide out, it will look something like this.
And the MVP winner trends. He does a great job of sort of the eventual, by the way, we didn't even talk awards with Aaron yesterday. Aaron's one of the 50 AP voters for awards. But Cleve does a great job of really saying, well, these are the parameters that have resulted in the eventual winners over the last decade or two or three. So for MVP, 13 straight, 18 of the last 19 have been quarterbacks. And those teams have averaged just over 13 wins per season. No MVP in the last 26 seasons came from a team with less than 11 wins. So the notion that you will get an MVP, we talked about this with baseball, right? Yesterday. Hey, man, on a losing team, it's really a big exception. It's not even close to the rule. Well, here you go for MVP in the NFL. If you don't win 11 games, you ain't winning this.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but in 2026, the first half of that sentence or paragraph matters more than me. Like it's quarterback. It's a quarterback award. I can't look at anybody else.
Yeah. Now, of course, we've added a game through the year, so now you would theoretically only have to go 11-6, right, as opposed to 11-5 before that. 11-3 if this trend had extended that far back. But Josh Allen is your regular season MVP short shot. Kelley Bydlon's never been happier. Loves himself some Josh Allen. Then it is Lamar. By the way, it's at plus 550. Then it is Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow rounding out the single-digit players. After that, it's Mahomes, Herbert, Drake May, Dak Prescott, Caleb Williams, first column. Before you get to last year's MVP, Matthew Stafford. Any thoughts here, Kelley? Or are you just so in Josh Allen's camp that you can possibly bet anywhere else?
I mean, look, I think MVP has become it's very tough, right? I mean, every year it feels like the NBA MVP at this point. Like it's probably coming from one of those top few names. I don't think any of us should be shocked by it, but like there's a lot of good quarterback play. And I think if we do use some of the Cleve TA kind of parameters and guidelines and what you're looking for, you can look further down the board, right? Like cashed Matthew Stafford at 40-1 last year. Like that was great. That was a perfect example of you can look further down the board and find something. So, I think some of this might sound a little laughable now, Gill, but is it fair to bring up a Jalen Hurts at 28-1, a Bo Nix at 35-1, CJ Stroud at 45-1? I think these are some longer shots on some teams, like Drew mentioned, with some defenses that should raise their floor high enough that if they can come through with some good quarterback play, could take this team to easily double-digit wins, 12, 13 wins, and be in this conversation. Like, I think that's realistic. I just think it's very tough to beat these names at the top of the board, and I don't know. I don't think I'm going to have a bet at it before this season in this market.
Yeah. If you listen to Aaron Schatz on the show yesterday, CJ Stroud backers might be very happy to hear that. He really likes the Texans. He really actually thinks CJ Stroud has a bit of a bad rap at this point because of poor playoff performances. Brock Purdy at 20-1 is the one that I find my eyes going to because I am very bullish on the Niners, and I think that would be a long shot play, but I don't have a bet yet. The other parameter in another award category from Cleve is what do we do besides MVP? We also had
we got Coach of the Year. I kind of like Caleb Williams, and I kind of like Trevor Lawrence, like as longer shots, Gill. But like I need a bigger price than that. I'm not betting Caleb Williams at 13-1 with the guys that are in front of him.
Coach of the Year, 20 of the last 21 ended the season with 10 or more wins. All 20 had 9 or more. 14 of the last 15 came from teams with 11 or more wins. Average preseason win total. This is really what you have to look at. Average preseason win total of the last 24 winners, 7.7. In other words, coaches of the year don't come from teams that are expected to be good, period. No winning teams. Preseason, pre-flop season win totals, in other words, nets you a coach of the year in the end. I have nothing here, but we should talk about it a little later. Yeah. John Harbaugh, just so you know, is the short shot at 6-1. Jesse Minter, 9-1. Robert Saleh, 10-1. At the top of that list. So all new faces in new places. Not necessarily new faces, but you get the idea. We'll come back. We'll recap the bets, and we'll talk Coach of the Year next.
A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
It is a numbers game, un partido de números, live from both San Francisco and Las Vegas. Kelley, I'll be back there eventually. I promise.
Yeah, sure. Maybe. No, I'll be there. We had 5 tennis plays today. One never happened. It was a cancellation. So the Jesper de Jong match never happened, but there were 4 others, and we went 3-1 in the end. Lost on Veronika Erdjavec versus Romero Gormaz, but won on Pana Uvardi. Big dog on May Hontama at plus 158, and also won during the show on Alex Molcan. So we'll take a 3-1 every day, man. Hell yeah.
A quiet, what do you prefer? A quiet 3-1 or a sweat-filled 2-2? I mean, I guess the answer is how much money did we make?
Right, yeah.
But sometimes I quite enjoy the ho-hum, very quiet 3-1, even when there's only one sexy pick among them with a big dog, right? And the others are minus 140 plays.
Hey, man, 3-1, like you said, you'll take that every single day.
Every single day. And then I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but we have the Red Sox at 80-1 in the month of July. For most wins. So far, so good. Once again, the Red Sox were 0-1, and we received a very stupid tweet from somebody who thought he was being a smarty pants and saying, "Oh, real good, great start to your Red Sox bet, Gill." Well, guess what? How's 14 in a row in your face? How about that? I didn't know whether to go face or pie hole.
The other one I wanted to bring up on this, Gill, is because Mark was asking about this, and you got 80-1. I remember that was, what was it, the next morning where it closed most places. It was like 22-1, right? Something like that. It was in that 20s. So just if there's any like confusion out there or wondering, that's going to be something that, with some of these odds that we've been updating through the month is going to be correlated more to that.
Well, I think Eric Biggio put him out the evening of the 28th, if I'm not mistaken. I believe, which was Thursday the 28th, gave out the 80-1 and bet it, gave it out the next morning, the 29th. And then, yes, it moved from there dramatically so. And I don't know if Circa opened it at 25-1, but the first number I saw when Circa opened it on the 30th or late on the 29th, don't hold me to one of those, which one it was. I think it was 25-1, but we got 80-1, man.
Yeah.
80-1 on that.
Yep.
You, sir, you have a basketball.
Ooh, NBA win total starting to trickle in, buddy. I got some bets. I'll have some more tomorrow. But I wanted to make sure to get to this one quick. Jazz over 35.5 wins, minus 120. Yes, I'll lay minus 120. Yes, this is going to be popular. I have a feeling this closes like 39.5 wins, Gill. I think this is going to be one of the most bet up win totals of the offseason. So I will get in on it now. Couple more I will probably have on the show tomorrow. I just got to go get over and actually bet them.
Do you think that the Jazz or the Wizards end up with a better record next year?
Ooh, great question. Jazz. I'll go Jazz, and it's not necessarily and I think it's part of the reason why you asked the question, because you have to keep in mind the conferences as well as just the team rebuild situations, right? And we are going to have, I think, a little bit of the weird swing, right, where there's going to be some easier opponents to beat up on in the bottom of the Western Conference than the East next year.
My other question, my other follow-up, just because you had this play, is do you think DeBonsa, while really good in the Summer League and maybe the best player in Summer League, the number 1 pick in the draft, do you think that the fact that they have Trae Young just completely torpedoes how good DeBonsa can be?
Long term or this year?
This year.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to clarify that, because long term, absolutely not. It's not going to mess up anything. This year, and I would have no interest. And this applies to Darren Peterson too. And I'm high on Darren Peterson. I'm a Darren Peterson guy for this whole draft. I don't know how before the season you can go bet either one of those guys for Rookie of the Year because of the other talent on the teams and how much usage is going to be taken up by a Trae Young on Washington, by the multitude of players, Lauri Markkanen, Jaren Jackson Jr. When then you go and look at Caleb Wilson's situation, when you go and look at Cam Boozer's situation, the Memphis Grizzlies are going to be like, just like all summer league, Cam Boozer, here's the ball. Go do whatever you can do. We got to build you up from here. So like the usage rate differences are going to be insane between like those four players. So that's
why I ask.
Yeah.
Because Trae Young can't do anything without the ball.
No, he can't. And we were pointed out early in summer league, but even like I'll admit, it's not a bet that I was ever running to make. It was, I think, no shocker though that we saw Caleb Wilson's number come crashing down for Rookie of the Year through as summer league went on, because it is going to be like that a little bit in Chicago too.
Caleb Wilson again in summer league. I guess the good side of that is he shot a bunch of threes, which you really didn't see as a college player. So they're like, oh, that's an interesting part of his game that perhaps we're sort of adding on. But then he was just dreadful from the line, the free throw line. Like he just was terrible. Yeah,
and Gill, I'll tell you, man, it just hit my brain now, so I'll expect problems going forward with this. But once I brought in Chicago into that conversation too, now I'm like, oh boy, once NBA starts back up, the whole Caleb Wilson and Caleb Williams thing in Chicago is going to become tricky. I'm sure I won't screw that up.
Oh yeah,
I'll be following right along with you, Tony Sirianni. Okay.
By the way, Houston Millette, friend of show, played a little summer league for the Bulls. I don't know if you caught that. And by little, I mean very little. Yeah, little summer league.
Good for him, man.
Joe Sheehan was on earlier. He's got 4 baseball plays today. Pirates team total over 4.5 at the Yankees at Yankee Stadium today. Braves first 5 money line versus the Padres. Reds Mariners under 7.5, and a game that featured 17 runs last night between the Phillies and Dodgers. Joe is going. I believe he's going over, isn't on that one, isn't he? On the Dodgers Phillies? Did I get that wrong?
I'll double check.
Yeah, I think he's going over on that. I think that's a typo for us. Over 9 on the Dodgers Phillies. Also got some plays. Did we get any more plays?
We got under. We got under 9.
Yeah.
Joe said.
Oh, you have under 9.
Yep.
Okay, then I'm wrong. Under 9. Mark Borchard, Astros versus the Marlins. Today he really likes the Astros. And then the parlay of the day from BaseWinner, Phillies, Yankees. That'll pay you plus 189. Wouldn't be a Mark Borchard segment without his parlay of the day, which makes Steve Fezzik go crazy, which we also like. Michael Montesano, how about some college football? Clemson to make the conference title game in the ACC at 7-1. Cal under 6.5 wins. The traditional ACC power that is Cal.
That's right.
Big Ten. You tried making that joke, but it got stepped on earlier, right?
I'm sorry, man. I'm a jerk. I just cut you off.
That's right. No, we stepped on you.
Usually when you're in studio, we can finesse those things a little better.
Yes.
I was just like,
that's right.
Crap, I got to shut up.
Big Ten, USC, alt over 9.5 wins at 3-1. And then Liberty to win Conference USA at 3-1 as well. Real quick, before we go, back to Coach of the Year and Cleve TA's parameters on this. And we can go straight. We won't repeat the parameters, but we can go straight to the odds board. And once again, the big thing in his parameters, the average season win total pre-flop for eventual coaches of the year. Their team's average pre-flop season win total is 7.7, meaning sub 500. Whether that was a 16-game schedule or now with the 17-game schedule. But you got John Harbaugh of the Giants at 6-1. You got Jesse Minter of the Ravens. You got Robert Saleh of the Titans. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of these, by the way. Kellen Moore of the Saints. Todd Monken of the Browns. Joe Brady of the Bills. Mike McCarthy of the Steelers. Brian Schottenheimer of the Cowboys. There you go. That's the first column. Second column begins with Kevin Stefanski of the Falcons. It's amazing how you have to pause an extra beat because of all of these coaching changes
every year, man.
It seems like it's more this year, or maybe it's just because all of these guys are more prominently featured in this market. Is there any pre-flop inkling from you on this, or is this something that you would never even deign to try here before the season even starts.
Look, it's another tough one, man. I don't think I'm going to have a bet. And I think the odds are pretty fair, right? I think John Harbaugh should be the favorite. Like, if the Giants go win a bunch of games, this is going to be the easiest. Hand it to John Harbaugh. It's just, which of these crappy situations do you believe in most, right? Kellen Moore with the Saints. We've heard a lot of Saints love this offseason. Absolutely. I think if you're
not from Aaron Schatz yesterday, he did not like the Saints.
And I'm not necessarily high on him either, but I think if you are one of those people, I think a 12-1 on him is something you'd look at. Same thing with the Cleveland Browns and Todd Monken, but that's not for me. I think most people know that. The first names I wrote down, Brian Schottenheimer, maybe if you're high on the Cowboys, but I think I was hearing from you, I think I'm leaning under on that team actually this year. Stefanski would be if I had to make a bet, would probably be the bet I'd make.
That'd be his third, Kelley.
I
they
know.
give someone 3 coaches of the year.
I don't know. Because guess what? The other name I've written down, Kevin O'Connell.
You know who needs 2 more zeros besides his 20-1? Aaron Glenn needs 2 more zeros at least. Yeah. We've done all we can do. Prop Points is next. Enjoy from VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.